Hi Flosstube, I'm Stephanie, the Ivy House Crafter. This is Audrey, the little Ivy House Crafter. Or the silly Ivy House Crafter.
The junior, her silly Ivy House Crafter. We had to take a few pictures in order to get the camera right.
Yep. Okay, so Audrey's going to show what she's been working on really quick, and then she gets to go out and play.
It's not that much.
She has been working on this little flower piece. This was her Christmas present, and here is her progress. She's put in a few stitches since the last time I showed this. And she's still having fun with it, working slowly but surely, huh?
Yeah. I have not worked on it since the time we went to Daniel's house. Daniel is my cousin.
Okay, do you want to go play? Okay.
Bye. Let's see. Oh, forgot to wave.
Okay.
I don't know if that looks good, but
That's okay. So, it is Thursday, April something... April 19th.
I'm gonna go check the calendar.
It's the 19th, Audrey. I checked on my phone. I don't have my notes. I might be a little scattered today, but that's okay. I had an interesting experience with my video from last week. If you watched it, I had the hiccups during part of it, which I mentioned in my video description. And don't do that. Don't put the word hiccups in your video description, because it brings out the creepy guys who apparently are really into women with hiccups, which I never would have thought of. You know, it started innocently enough. I was getting comments, cute hiccups and stuff, and I really like your hiccups. And I was just like, oh, yeah, okay, whatever. And then there was, you know, you should film every time you get hiccups. And about that time I started being like, I don't know, it's just kind of weird. And so I started checking their profiles, and it's like these men who follow a bunch of women, and just, yeah. And then there was the comment that said, I love your hiccups. You are so sexy. Thank you, and I'm deleting your comment and all the comments and the word hiccups from my video description, and never again, no matter how many times I hiccup on a video, will I mention the fact that I have the hiccups in my video description, because some people are really creepy, and that's just... ugh. Okay, moving on. I wanted to shout out a couple people, but the first one, I forgot to grab something that I need as part of my shout out. So I am going to turn off the video and come back, and you won't even know I'm gone. Okay, I'm back. This is what I went to go get, because my shout out is for Hickety Pickety Funked Up Art. Isn't that a fun name? She does a lot of like punch needle. Oh, my cat's coming to join us. Come here. There we go. This is my cat. Hickety Pickety. She does punch needle. She does a lot of primitive stuff. She has an Etsy store, which I will link below. But a little while ago, she had a giveaway for the 2 necklaces that she had soldered herself a while back, and I happened to win one. And I'm so glad it was this one. There was one that had some red in it, and then there was this one with this like really, really pale blue. And they're both beautiful, but this is actually the one that I really, really wanted. So I'm glad that I won this. And thank you so much to Sonia at Hickety Pickety, and go check her out. The other shout out I wanted to do is Crafting Between the Lines. or crafting between stitches, or if I had my notes I could say it correctly, but it will be linked below. I don't remember her first name, her actual name, but she has a Chihuahua and a larger dog, and they sometimes make appearances. She does English paper piecing, and she recently did a project, a cross-stitch project. It was a blood bag, and it said always give 100% unless you're giving blood, and I thought that was really funny because I give blood as often as I'm able, and I think it's just a really, really important thing to do. I have really special blood. Not only am I O negative, but I have, they call it baby blood because it's negative for a certain virus antibody, and if that virus antibody is present, if someone has ever been in contact with that virus, they cannot give that blood to immunocompromised, such as preemies and people who, immunocompromised, especially babies. And I have not been exposed to that, and so I can give blood that is then used for babies who need it, which is really neat. So, yeah, I give blood every 8 weeks, I think is how often it is. And I never give 100% of my blood. So yeah, that is my shout outs. Let me see what comes next. I have a finish. Okay, filming with a cat in your lap is a little bit harder, but so this one, I haven't worked on it in a really long time because I just did not enjoy it. I started it specifically for the Winter Olympics challenge, but it was this Festive Stars. And I got to a point where I was just like, I am not enjoying this at all. And so I decided to have this be my stopping point, and I'm gonna turn it into a pin cushion. I might even make it into a biscornu. I'm not entirely sure how I'm gonna finish it yet.
Thanks.
But basically, the last time I left on this, I had everything done except for these 5 beads. There's bead here and here, 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 here. Those 5 beads. That is all that I had left to do. And it took me weeks to actually pick this up and sew those beads on, because apparently I don't like putting beads in my cross stitch. Now I'll make jewelry with beads. Give me some ear hooks and wire and a bunch of seed beads, and I'll just go at it. But I don't like cross stitch beading, so it's good to know that about myself anyway. So that is my finish, and let's move on to whips. I put in some work on my Dimensions kit, Roses on White Chair. And last time I said if I worked on it, I would work more on the pail that the flowers are in, and I did that, and added some more around the outside of what's going to be the chair, the white chair that actually doesn't have any white on it. It's like browns and grays and stuff, but that's okay. I feel like I made a lot of progress. Probably no more than I usually do. It just looks like more because it's in a new area and not all spread out. So, Roses on White Chair, coming along nicely. Let's see. Alright. Trying to gather all my stuff. It really is easier with the cat not on my lap. Hello. Okay. The next piece, let me bring up the pattern, is one that I designed. and I've shown this one before, and it's in my Etsy shop. Deer in the Woods. And here is my tiny little Deer in the Woods progress. So this week I put little Mr. Deer in. Isn't that adorable? And I started on the wording. I took a. And, you know, eventually it'll say, I took a walk in the woods and came out taller than the trees. This is almost like tone on tone. And so it's kind of hard to see, but when I designed it, I wanted it to be subtle. I mean, if somebody else buys the pattern and they want that, and they want the wording to stand out, that's fine. They can use, you know, a different color or paler fabric so that that stands out more. It's, you know, you do what you want with your pattern, but I like the subtle look, and I am just so in love with this teeny tiny little deer. It's so tiny. So yeah, that's fun. And let's see. Oh, there goes the cat. And I'm covered in cat hair now. That's okay. I love you anyway. Okay, next whip is Grand House from Just Like Festive Stars. This is from the Reader's Digest Big Book of Cross Stitch Designs. And I've got some fun progress on that. Doo-doo. I put in all the leaves around this little text blurb. That's going to have the our last name and the year we were married. It was designed as like a new home sampler, like to celebrate, oh, you bought your first home or whatever, but I'm doing it as more of a wedding sampler. I mean, there's nothing really wedding about it, but that's okay. I don't know, I might put our yeah, I'll put our last names. Anyway. So yeah, what else did I do? Oh, I put the leaves in this tree, because that was the same color as the leaves around here. And that's my progress on Grand House. Seriously, so much cat hair. Goodness gracious. I didn't realize she was so sheddy. Okay, where is... I might not have grabbed, well, the next one is Spring House, and I don't think I grabbed the paper pattern that shows what that looks like, but I'm getting close to, anyway, but this happens every time. Words from my brain to my mouth derail, blah 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 blah. Here it is. I finished the roof, I added the chimneys, and I started on the little white picket fence and gate down under the door. And so that's looking cute. Alright. And since I'm not doing any new starts until May, that is all that I've got. I don't have any other pieces that I'm working on. I keep looking around to see in my notes what comes next, and I don't have my notes. Let's see. I am working on some project bags. 2 of them I cannot show because they will be gifts for somebody else, and so I can't show them, but they're turning out super cute. And then the third, this is all that I have so far on it. This is just the front part that will go, the zipper will go here, and then the top of the bag will be the same as this, but this is made using that super darling deer woodland fabric from Jennifer Upton that she sent me. And this is just so adorable. I really like the colors. I like the little woodland motifs in the antlers. It's just really cute. So that's going to be a really cute project bag. Let's see, I haven't done any knitting, but I did take Audrey to the store to get, to get yarn for her hat, and she picked this vibrant color here. This is Caron Simply Soft Paints, and the colorway is Peacock Feather. And she was just really excited about all the different blues and how it all looks really pretty together. So that will be a hat for Audrey. What else? Let's see. I was going to talk about this in the beginning of my video, but Audrey distracted me, and that's okay. I'll talk about it now. Anybody who missed my very short Flosstube 10.5 video, I have an Etsy shop, and the designs that, the cross-stitch patterns that I have designed are for sale in my shop. And there is, we're in the process of setting up a stitch along, a SAL, for one or both of the band samplers. If you're interested in joining that SAL, the Saxon Transylvania band sampler or the Ye Old band sampler, or both, some of us are going crazy and doing both. Again, they're available in my Etsy shop, and there's a Facebook group for the SAL that is Saxon Band Sampler SAL, and so yeah, just request to join if you want to be a part of that. Let's see. But I brought that up now because I have some changes to my Stitch Mania plans. Originally I was going to start the band samplers in May for Stitch Mania, but it's looking like we're not going to start the SAL until June to give everybody time to get their fabric and floss together, and I guess May is just like a really busy time for a lot of people. So we're probably going to do that in June. So I'm not starting my samplers, my band samplers, in May. So I had to come up with some other stuff. So as it stands, I'm doing the Birds sampler. I showed that in a previous video. It's from the Traditional Samplers book by Brenda Keyes. I am doing, I need this little scarecrow sampler that I put together to be part of, or to be the other half of the With Thy Needle and Thread freebie, the Welcome October sampler with the crow and the pumpkin. And I showed that finish a few videos ago. So, bird sampler, scarecrow sampler. I'm starting Summer House. I have that all kitted up. What else? I'm also doing, I showed these before, Pokemon ABCs and Minecraft ABCs from happycupcakecreations.blogspot.com. Let's see. So that's all the same. I've shown that I'm going to do those before. And let's see. Pattern. I'm also going to start Springtime Sampler, which I've shown before. And I have designed a Summertime Sampler. This is not the complete pattern for that. This particular program, this app that I'm using, you can't do backstitching, and so I have, what is it, sweetie? So yeah, this pattern or this app doesn't do backstitching. I added a backstitch alphabet and some details on the birds. I love the little hummingbird, by the way. Isn't that cute? And some other little flowers here and there, but that's the basic gist of the summertime sampler. Okay, what else? The Biscornu for Jennifer Upton's Great Biscornu Swap, and I'm not going to show that pattern because it's for a swap. Okay, so I've added a few things to my plans. There is this wildlife sampler from the Big Book of Cross Stitch Designs, and that's just really pretty. It's got birds and deer and lion and cats and, is that a sheep or a goat? Probably a sheep. Bighorn? Anyway. And I haven't decided exactly what yet, but I'm going to do something with these bonsai trees. Because bonsai, and they're beautiful. And then, let's see, so that's 10 patterns so far, and I am also working on designing a traditional style sampler with like alphabet and a saying, and like this is more early American type sampler instead of Saxon type sampler. And it's got like a house and a man and a woman and some flowers and dogs and cats, and I'll be adding a bunch of other motifs, but that should be, I should be done designing that in time to start it sometime in May. And I can't think of anything else. I'm sure there must be something else. How much time have I been on? This might just be a really short video. So I just checked my notes, and I guess that is all that I had planned. So I'm going to do a tag. I don't know what this tag is called, but I know that a few other people have done it. So let's see, how did you start, or who introduced you to cross stitch? Well, I started cross stitching when I was young. My mom taught me, and like all my other crafty things that I learned from my mom as a child, I kind of discarded it and then picked it up again as an adult. So in the past year or two, I have a friend who would post her progress on cross-stitch stuff on Facebook. She is a monogamous stitcher and does extreme cross-country, and so every time she finished a color on the piece she was working on, and she does like big pieces, she would take a picture and post that. And so I was getting that every once in a while little, hey, there's cross stitch, I used to do that, that's cool. And then I got an app on my phone that lets you do cross stitch, where it's more like a color by letter, color by number, it's letters and numbers. And so you tap on the floss color, and then all of the squares of that color, you know, get highlighted, and then you fill them in, and it looks like an X on like a cross stitch on fabric. And so that was really fun. And then I was like, you know, I really want to do cross stitch again. And so I got kits for the kids at Christmas and helped them start theirs, and I did, and I got myself Roses on White Chair, that Dimensions kit, and then I started looking stuff up on YouTube and found Flosstube, and whoop, down the hole I went. Number 2, do you have a favorite theme or designer? Not yet, not really. I'm still kind of figuring out my likes and dislikes, and even though I've only been stitching again since, I think it's since January, my tastes have already changed. Right now I am enjoying samplers and things with houses, things with birds. Yeah. So I don't really have a favorite, just, you know, whatever appeals to me. Number 3, what floss brand do you use? I use DMC almost exclusively. No, not exclusively, because I also have I have a great big bag of cheap no-name floss that I got on Amazon. But yeah, I prefer DMC. I haven't tried any fancy flosses. I might graduate to that at some point, but for right now, DMC does just fine for me. Do you use a needle threader or are you a floss licker? Mostly I use a needle threader, but I am perfectly capable of doing it the floss licker method, and I do on occasion, but I prefer the needle threader. Number 6, what kind of stitching frame do you use? I have a hoop, but I haven't used it in quite a while. I have discovered stitching in hand thanks to Stitchin' Mommy, and I've mentioned her in the past. I am working on making a scroll rod for my band samplers because it's, you know, just a big piece of fabric, and I don't want the hassle of trying to stitch that in hand. So I'll be giving a scroll frame a try. I'm using like PVC pipe and, you know, putting it together with like instructions I found online. Number 7, how many projects have you finished? I don't think I fully finished anything yet. No, yes, I did. So I have one fully finished, and that was the Today While the Blossoms, the piece I did for my aunt. That's fully finished, delivered, appreciated, loved, and everything. And then finished, I have a, let's see, the flowers I did for my mom, the pagoda for my dad, a tiny nativity, I never showed it on here, that's okay, the festive stars, Welcome October sampler. That's all I can think of, so five projects that I finished. Okay, how many completed works do you have currently displayed in your home? That is a 0, because I haven't fully finished any for myself, and therefore there's none of them displayed. But as I finish objects, I will be displaying them. Do you do more stitching for gifts or keep them for yourself? I've done a few for gifts, but mostly I kind of am leaning toward being a selfish stitcher and stitching for myself, because I do pieces that I like and that appeal to me, and you know, I'm not opposed to occasionally stitching gifts, obviously, but yeah, mostly for myself. What is your favorite project or finish you are most proud of? I think that would probably be Today While the Blossoms that I gave to my aunt, because there was so much meaning behind it, and I put so much love into it, and I know how appreciated it was. Number 11, what has been your least favorite or worst experience while stitching? That would be this little guy right here. Festive Stars. I don't know what it is about this piece. I just didn't like working on it. It could be the unevenness of the even weave and how it made the pattern look distorted. It could be how bright the red is against the white and it's like too much contrast. A lot of it is the beads. I really didn't like putting the beads on. Yeah, just did not care for that one at all. What do you love and what do you hate about cross stitch? Well, I love doing it and I hate not doing it. No. Yeah, I love being able to create, creating things, making beautiful things. That is my passion. That's what I do. It's what I love to do. And cross stitch is just another way that I have found to do that. I love that it's been around for so long and that stitching helps to connect me to past generations. What do I hate about it? I hate frogging. I kind of hate beading. Let's see. Have you introduced anyone else to cross stitch? My kids, Thomas and Audrey, and after their initial furor, anyway, after their initial excitement, they have kind of toned it down a bit and, you know, maybe put in a few stitches every once in a while, but the seed has been planted, and in about 20 or 30 years, they'll pick it up again. What was your first project, and did you finish it? If not, what was your first finish? Let's see. I honestly do not remember the first project I ever worked on. I don't remember any cross-stitch pieces in particular that I did when I was a little girl, except I have this vague, fuzzy memory of teddy bears. You know, the 90s teddy bear, or late 80s, early 90s teddy bear, yeah. Something probably with that. So I'm just gonna scoot forward to, since picking it up again, my first project was the Dimensions kit, and I haven't finished it yet, but my first finish was, I'm gonna go with first full finish, Today While the Blossoms. How do you store your cross-stitch floss? Plastic bags. Yeah, little baggies, the Ziploc bags. Floss for specific projects are in quart size bags in the project bag with the project, and floss that is not currently being used for a project is all stuffed into one great big gallon size bag. And that's how I store my floss. And that's the end of that tag. So I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. I hope everybody has a great weekend, and I'll see you next week. Happy stitching. Bye.